Okay, I'm going to show how to install the Tomcat web server for use in the course that I'm teaching, Computer Science and Engineering 322. So you can read this stuff here that I have and come down to the after you read through that, come down to the installation folder. Actually, before you get to this, I want to mention that there is a study section here with explanation and links for you to read through. Oops, JavaScript. So here we're going to install a Tomcat web server. I'm going to show you how to install it in a way that we need to have it installed for me to easily evaluate everybody's work that they submit. So we're all going to install it in a consistent way. So let's go to the Tomcat, Apache Tomcat website. And you'll see here that there's some different versions. You can read about them, but we're going to be using Tomcat 7.0. This is the most recent release. And let's see, we're going to scroll down here to this section, 7.0.19. And we will install, rather than a source distribution, we're going to be installing a binary distribution. So let's take a look down here. We're going to get for Windows. For Windows, it's convenient to get one of these zip files here, and I have 64-bit Windows, so I'm going to download this file. But if you have one of these other systems or architectures that you'll need to install one of those, please remember, do not install the installer. So we don't want to set it up using the installer. So I'll be getting this 64-bit Windows here, and let's take a look at that. That's downloading. That's downloading quickly. This does require that Java be installed on your system. Most systems have Java already installed. It doesn't require the JDK. It has its own built-in compiler to compile the JSP files, but it essentially only needs a Java virtual machine. We'll be installing the JDK later on in the course. So I'm going to cut that. Actually, I don't need to cut it. I'll just expand it right here. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. It's already in a folder called Apache Tomcat. Now let's go ahead and expand that here. There's the folder. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to put that in the CSE 322 working copy folder of the repository. Just going to paste that in there. So now when you commit this, I will get a copy of it, and I'll be able to run. I'll be able to run your code with the configuration that you have. So let's see. I'm going to go into Apache Tomcat. All of this stuff is there. That's good. Let's see if I don't remember exactly what to do next. So I'm going to go up here and read through this. And talking about this stuff. Well, running. Start Tomcat is explained in running.txt. So here's running.txt. And this covers all the different possible systems running with the JRE 6.0 or later. How do we know that we have JRE 6.0? Let's do that. Let's go to the command prompt and type in Java space minus version. That's 1.6. In fact, that is 6.0. They have two names for Java, and this is a little inconvenient, but 1.6 maps to version 6. And then, oh yeah, we have to read that actually. And so download and install the JDK. We have it already there. Download and install the Tomcat binary. And start Tomcats. Basically, under Windows, you run this batch file, and under Unix, you run this batch file. And then you basically browse to this URL. And to shut down Tomcat, what you should do is use the shutdown script. Run shutdown. This is shutdown.bat actually. That's not just plain shutdown. And then we have shutdown.sh. Shutdown.bat. Let's look at that. Here is shutdown.bat. That's right. So they kind of forgot that extension. And multiple instances of Tomcat. We're not going to worry about that. Troubleshooting, you can read that if needed. So let's come back to here and let's go ahead and start it up. Double click. This shows the kind of a terminal window here. This is the log files that Tomcat is printing. Actually, this is exactly the same output as what appears in this file, I believe. Let's verify that. As you can see, info server startup in 1050 milliseconds. Where's that? Info server startup at 1050 milliseconds. You can see July 31, 2011. Starting protocol handler. This is the way they have their logger configured, that they are writing their logging output to the console window and also to this particular log file. You'll see there's other log files. These are for other components that are in the system. Just quickly look at this manager log file. There's nothing written in there. And let's take a look at this localhost. Yeah, there's something in here. So this is a different part of the Tomcat system, which is writing their logs to a separate output file. Alright, so we have Tomcat running. Let's test Tomcat. Let's go to this link here. I'm going to open in a new tab. See what we get. There it is. This is the start page right there. Very good. And then I was still debating whether to include this section here. It's actually optional, but I think I'm going to go ahead and show this, how to configure the manager application. And it can facilitate some parts of the development activities that we're going to be doing. And this application is used to deploy, undeploy, start, and stop web applications. It itself is a web application. If you go into this web page, you'll see there's some links here. There's server status, there's a manager application. We click on that, it'll get this screen asking for a username and password. This actually doesn't will actually work because there's no username and password that is by default set up, so we need to go ahead and do that. In fact, once we hit cancel on that, you get a screen here that explains a little bit about this manager application, and I'm going to show you what to do here. It's written up here. There's of course many things to do, but I'll show you one way to fix this. There's this. If you look, I'm going to copy that. If you look inside this $Catalina base, that refers to the Tomcat installation folder. They used to call it Catalina or something Catalina, but they've pretty much dropped that name, except it's still used for referring to the installation folder and setting environmental variables that are sometimes read. So in the Tomcat installation folder, there's a subfolder called conf or configuration, and then there's a Tomcat users.xml file within there. This is where we configure the passwords, the usernames and passwords for the manager application. Let's go ahead and open that. So I'm going to go into this conf file. There it is, Tomcat users. I'm going to open that with Notepad. There's a lot of stuff here, and you can actually delete this if you like. That's a comment. See, it starts with a exclamation point dash dash, ends with a dash dash, and a closing angle bracket. That's a comment. And you know, you might want to leave these comments in here if you want to read them. So this comment's not necessary. And let's go ahead, and this is all commented out, by the way. See that? So I'm going to paste in what I put on the web page, which looks like this. In fact, that's sufficient right there. Just 2 links. One is defines a role called Manager Gui. The other is creates a user called admin with password 1234 and assigns that user the role Manager Gui. The other applications use this. You know, there's other applications there. You know, there's this host manager. This is also requires a username and password. Looks like this admin GUI, that's the role name for that application. Server status. This is Manager GUI as well, so this is the same that we're creating now. So let's go ahead and create this Manager GUI. The admin GUI, that's you know, that's optional. You can do that if you like. I'm going to just take that out. It's not necessary. Actually, just to show you what it looks like, this is the file in its minimum state. You have an opening tag, Tomcat users, and you close it here at the end of the document. It's an XML file, so it has a single root element called something. In this case, it's called Tomcat users. And then you have child elements within it. We only need 2 child elements, a role element and a user element, that are connected through this role name attribute here. Save that. Now what I'm going to do is shut down Tomcat. And to shut down Tomcat, I'm going to go back to the Tomcat folder, go into bin, find the shutdown script. This is a clean way to shut down. You could also just kill it in here, not in there. You could kill it somewhere in here, but this way is not the clean way to shut down. The clean way is to run this this script, and I'm going to show you as I run that how this console window will. It's hard to get this, isn't it? This little screen here. I'll show how this console window responds. So we're going to find this shutdown command. There it is, shutdown.bat. Run that. There it is. You can see it. The server's now shutting down. It's been shut down. Now I'm going to show you a good habit to develop when working with Tomcat. Go into the logs folder here. These are old logs. We don't really need the old logs. I'm just going to delete them all, because we need to use the logs a lot to do debugging. And now the reason why we're restarting Tomcat is because we modified the configuration file, which is in here. This is one of the configuration files. This is the main configuration file here, server.xml. Here's a configuration file for some of the web applications. the Manager application in particular. So we're going to go back and start up Tomcat. Here is startup. Not bad. There it is. So I'm looking for error messages. There's no error messages. Let's try the Manager application again. Username is admin. A password, I configured it as 1, 2, 3, and 4. There it is. Save password. Sure, I saved a password. These are the running web applications. This is the root application. It corresponds to the path / That's the welcome page. Welcome to Tomcat. Here's another application. It's /docs. And the path for this one is /examples, host manager, manager. This is the one we're running. Actually, see this link here, this URL. The first part of the resource path here is manager /manager. As you can see it, the manager is showing itself as an installed and running web application. As you can see, these different applications, you can stop them, start them, reload them, undeploy them, and so on. Then you can expire the sessions and set the session timeout limit here. Let's investigate. Let's look at this /docs application. I can actually right-click and open a new tab. As you can see, there's the application up there. This is the path to the application. This is the port number that the server is listening on, and this is the host name here. And this is in fact the documentation, which is stored locally. So this is a local host, means it's the local machine that you're running on here. So that's that. Let's see what other notes I have in there. I'm going to show, oh, that's right. Now I'm going to show how to deploy the one of the static content folders that we created already. So I'm going to create a new window here. Let's take a look at this on a desktop. CSE 322. This folder right here. This is this HTML folder. This has got your work on that lab. So as you can see here, we're processing this file. We're retrieving it through the file system. So the browser's getting to the file through this this path, through the directories on the file system. And what we're going to do instead is to configure Tomcat so that it accesses the content in this folder through the web server. Let's take a look at how to do that. So I have the notes on that here. And we want to create a file called html.xml. And we want to put it here. I call it Tomcat Home instead of Catalina Home. That's it. Sometimes people use that that name to represent the folder where Tomcat is installed to. So this, once again, it's in that conf folder, configuration folder, then it's Catalina, and then localhost. And we want to create this file html.xml with this content in it. Let's find that. That's not that folder, it's this one. So I'm going to go up to, this is the $, Tomcat Home or Catalina Home. Here's configuration, Catalina, localhost, and I'm going to create a text document. I don't want it to end with txt, I want it to end with .xml. .xml, so I hit enter. It'll accept that, and then I'm going to right click and edit. It opened up with Notepad, that's good. Notepad is a plain text editor. And here is the element that I want you to put in there. By the way, there are multiple ways to deploy web applications. I'm showing you how to deploy this web application one particular way that's suitable for our purposes. So we're defining this HTML, this XML file called html.xml. The name HTML is corresponds to the folder name HTML that we used. And I believe that is important. It used to be required. I don't know if it's still required, but that is, I recommend following that. In fact, it might be required. Then we have a single context element. That context element has a doc-base attribute that's set to ///HTML. That's a path, the relative path to the folder that has the static web content in it. And this path here, this here doc-base is the path to the file system to find the web application. This path here is the path that's included on the web browser, like up here, csc.csusb.edu/Turner. This would be the beginning of the path, /Turner. Here it's /HTML. Alright, so I'm going to save that. And now we need to restart Tomcat. Remember, we want to do that cleanly. So I'm going to go up to the bin folder and shut down. And now start up. But I'm going to be disciplined about this. I'm going to go into the log folder and delete those logs. So if we have problems, it's easier to diagnose if we have a clean set of logs. Let's go in and hit start up. Let's look here. Looks good. Okay, this is the local file system. Let's try the here I've got a link to it. HTTP localhost 8080/HTML. There it is. So you can see we're now retrieving the static content through the web server, which is listening on port 8080 on the local host, and I get basically the same result that I get by having the browser retrieve that static content through the file system directly. So when you're done this, let me just finish this up here. When you're done this, I'm going to shut down Tomcat. The shutdown is here. When you shut down Tomcat, what we'll do is, let me go into that folder again. Where is it? CSE 322. There it is. Now I want to commit my work. So right click inside here somewhere, do tortoise, oh here it is, SE and commit. And for a comment I'll say I'm submitting the Tomcat assignment. I don't really like that. Say installed Tomcat, that better. Now look here, the list, I want you to start adding things in here. And I'm going to start by selecting all. But don't commit all. There's certain things that we don't need in there. The bin folder is good. Let's leave that there. And conf, we need to have that in there. So basically, once you commit these files into the repository, you can check them out in some other folder. Run your project from another folder. You can check them out on another machine. You can even check them out under a different operating system and run everything. So you can be developing on a Mac, committing your work to the repository. I could check it out on Windows or Linux or whatever, and I can look at your work. I can run your web applications and examine your work. So that's one of the benefits of working in Java. All right, so let me look through here. This live folder, I need that. Also, if you get a different version of Tomcat, I'll be able to run the version that you're using by using this procedure. Let's go through this section. I need all the logs. I don't need the logs folder. So what I'm going to do there is unselect the folder that unselects all the contents of the logs folder. And let's go ahead and go down through here. This temp folder, I don't need the temp folder. Let's unselect the temp folder. And let's go ahead and look through the rest of these. There's a lot of files. Docs. I guess you can give me the docs. I don't really need it, but let's just put that in there. And examples, once again, I don't need all this stuff, but let's put it in there anyway. Manager, all this business. And I'm wondering if, for me to help you debug your configuration problems in your web applications, it might be good for me to look at the log files. So maybe we'll include the log file in there. Let's put these in there. The logs directory. Where's that? Yeah, no, I'll leave it out. We'll add it if needed, okay, later on. So let's go ahead and commit that. Whoops. Hit OK, there it's committing. It's a lot of information. I think these are individual files that are being transmitted. It's a little bit wasteful for everybody in the class to commit all of this, but it's simpler than removing things. Okay, that completes. I paused there. It was quite a long commit. Looks like it was almost 15 megabytes, so it's pretty big. So that's basically it for the assignment. That's it right there.